Hello, Toastmasters, our guests, and especially Jessica. Fish are definitely high maintenance. We've had tons in our house. In fact, we had a flood in one of the bedrooms where my daughter kept her fish. So they're more than just the cost of fish. The purpose of your speech is, of course, to open with a humorous story and close with a humorous story that drives home that point. And you did that fairly well. The thing about humor is always a challenge to get the lines just right. For instance, the opening story. To make it more humorous, you talked about the names of the fish, and instead of just saying, well, she named these fish, you know, thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, you say, you know, my sister was really creative in these names. You know, she spent hours thinking of these names, and then you go thing 1, thing 2, thing 3. You know? Something along those lines would really make it much more humorous, and add a little pause into it. That's one of the things that, of course, our president was working on pauses today, too. And of course, if you're talking about pauses, you're talking about catfish. But anyway,
No. Oh.
I'm sorry. You know, the stories were capricious, so I got some humor too. The other thing you could do to talk about high maintenance, what was the cost? You didn't talk about the cost of these things. You know, you went and you bought this. How much were the tanks? How big were the tank? How much, you know, and add, you're now the advanced speaker. Get up front a little more and say, oh yeah, this big old tank, I love this thing in, and then the buckets of fish, and then the fish go, boop, 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 you know, whatever. Add some more humor in the activity of what your vocal variety and expressions, and that would really make the stories pop. Because again, I don't know anybody who hasn't had fish that hasn't had similar goofy stories. The other thing you could do to add something about the cost and close in the end, and you could say something like, you know, well, we had the ceremonies for the fish, you know, all the ceremonies over the toilet and this and that. So instead of having to go through all the hassle, just take your money and put it in the toilet and do that, so you save the hassle flat. That would be a great close to that story, really add that and punch it up. But again, overall, the nice thing about it is your smile's great, it's infectious, it does lend itself to be us to want to laugh along with the story and get into it. So I appreciate that. But and then look for again, future look for those words and phrases and really punch it up. Master General.